allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible,
with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Ms. Ryan? Present. Mr. Redmond?
Present.
Mr. Francie?
Yeah.
Ms. Kane?
She's here.
Here. Mayor Nolan?
Here.
The first item we have is the consent agenda.
We're going to pull one thing off to talk on its own. 1481.
I'm sorry, which one?
1481, capital number 5. Ordinances that we're canceling. We want to just hold that off by itself.
Okay.
I will offer everything except 1481.
I'll second it. Offered by Mayor Nolan, second by Ms. Kane. Ms. Ryan?
Yes.
Mr. Redmond?
Yes.
Mr. Francie?
Yes.
Ms. Kane? Yes. Mayor Nolan?
Yes.
You want to go right to R 1481?
1481. Steve, would this be you?
Yeah.
Can you tell us what it actually means and does?
So first off, the projects are complete. The ordinances are being canceled because the projects are complete. It puts the remaining funds back into capital surplus.
Say that again, please.
What's that?
Say that again.
Okay, the projects, the 2 projects that are listed on the resolution are completed.
Right.
Okay, this cancels them out off the books and puts the funds that are left into capital surplus.
So we are still able to use the funds.
Yes, that's really what it allows you to, it gives you many options of what you want to do there.
So at this point, we are underfunded on the Captain's Cove, the storm drain. We could be underfunded on Bayside Drive on the curb, if we ever do any work on it.
Could be, yeah. If you were talking, yeah, you could be, and that would be appropriate uses, and also, to give you an example, the improvements to the community center, it could fund that also. We're gonna end up with, over 500,000 in capital surplus, so you could utilize those funds. You know, the discussion we had on the debt level, those funds could be used to bring down that debt level, or they could be used as additional sources for projects that are already on board.
Okay.
Okay.
I think I read the resolution, or the resolution that we were losing them and turning them back to the granting authority.
Oh, no.
Okay, fine.
No.
That's good. So moved.
Satisfied?
Offered by Mr. Francie?
I'll second it.
Second by Mayor Nolan. Ms. Ryan?
Yes.
Mr. Redmond?
Yes.
Mr. Francie?
Yep.
Ms. Kane? Yes. Mayor Nolan?
Yes.
Moving on to Resolution R 1477.
Okay, who's speaking to that? Approving street opening permit?
Yeah, I can speak to that, Mayor.
That'd be great.
We had a resident approach us at the last council meeting with regards to street opening permit for New Jersey Natural Gas.
Right.
Speaking with New Jersey Natural Gas, they understand that they are going into our improved roadway, and there is a 7-year moratorium. They are holding escrow monies on the residents, I believe, up in that area. I think there's a couple residents up there that will impact. So in order to allow New Jersey Natural Gas to run the gas line, I don't have the authority to just approve that. The governing body has to allow that. So that's why it's coming to a resolution. We will make sure that infrared repair is done in concurrence with the engineer. We talked about that. New Jersey Natural Gas is on board. If there are other fees associated, then New Jersey Natural Gas will also have to pay for that.
So everybody knows, is this for a new home, upgrade, or something?
It's actually homes that were up there that don't have gas. They work off propane, I believe, right
Okay,
now.
so this is going to provide them gas service.
Yes, it is.
Okay, any discussion at the table? Nope. Okay, seeing none, I'll offer it.
Offered by Mayor Nolan.
I'll second it.
Second by Mr. Redmond. Ms. Ryan?
Yes.
Mr. Redmond?
Yes.
Mr. Francie?
Yep.
Ms. Kane? Yes. Mayor Nolan?
Yes.
Resolution R 1484.
Steve, is this you also? Emergency appropriations number 2?
This is a temporary emergency to put some money into a couple of budget items. One is the fire department, the other one is the E911, which is the county 911 system.
Okay.
That bill came in, and also to add some money to snow removal.
Okay.
Excuse me, snow removal?
Yes. Just a little bit. I'm sure we heard.
I wasn't sure if I heard that right.
Any discussion at the table? Okay, I'll offer it.
Offered by Mayor Nolan.
I'll second it.
Second by Mr. Redmond, Ms. Ryan.
Yes.
Mr. Redmond.
Yes.
Mr. Francie.
Yep.
Ms. Kane.
Yes.
Mayor Nolan.
Yes.
Resolution R-1485.
Bruce, you want to speak to this briefly?
Sure, this was part of the resolution of the municipal court case that we had where Captain's Cove pled guilty to several violations, I believe it was 6 or 7. They have paid almost just under $12,000 in fines and court costs to the borough. That was paid out of a cash escrow he had previously posted with the borough, and the remaining of those funds, a little over $12,000, is being returned to him pursuant to our agreement.
Okay, and now, because the other stuff isn't done yet, he hasn't hit the timelines to get that stuff done, or? One has no bearing on the other.
One doesn't have bearing on this. There are timelines to get things done.
Okay.
If he doesn't hit those, then he'll just be hit with a second offense.
Has he been past any of those timelines
No.
yet, or no? Okay. Any discussion?
Most of the timelines were due to weather. And
Right, and I think, I know a couple of them middle of April and stuff
Yeah.
like that. Any discussion at the table?
Have we committed Brandon to work on the storm drain yet?
Yeah, I spoke to him, and he's been tied up obviously with snow removal and everything else. So I told him he's been approved to go. He's got the purchase order ready. So I just got to get a schedule for him and move forward.
Did he get it to ETA so we know and send it out an
I'm
email?
hoping the next couple of weeks.
Yeah,
You know.
let us know. Okay, I'll offer that.
Offered by Mayor Nolan.
I'll second it.
Second by Ms. Kane. Ms. Ryan.
Yes.
Mr. Redmond.
Yes.
Mr. Francie.
Yeah.
Ms. Kane.
Yes.
Mayor Nolan.
Yes.
Resolution R-1486.
Sure. We're gonna go back to number 1 real fast. The one that is at the regular meeting, the acknowledgement.
Yeah.
We're gonna bring up Mr. Charlie Wells. Come on up, Charlie.
Sorry, I was late.
I heard you were doing your volunteer work that we're so grateful that you and
Charlie
everybody
Wells, I
else.
live at 194 Linden. I just want to say thanks to Chief Blewett, Sergeant Sergeant Burton, and Patrolman Dobbins. I already talked to the fire guys and the first aid guys for the response to the car accident that we had Sunday night. So, pride, professionalism. I cannot really reiterate the professionalism of all 3 departments that night, especially for my family and my daughter. From out of my daughter's mouth, she said that the first aid squad was really great tonight. So, and besides the quick response from the police department to get up there as quick as they did before I did something stupid. So, I really appreciate that. And I just want to let everybody know that I really appreciate the guys that showed up that night.
Thank you,
I
Charlie.
think from my perspective, the dispatcher Burton was also fantastic.
Yes.
So.
Thank you, sir. Thank you and for all you do. Everybody that was involved as always. Okay, with that we'll go to 1486, I believe.
Yes.
And that is, Steve, is this you, local finance board?
Partially, the last meeting, the council directed us to move forward as quickly as possible on getting the drainage program through the EIT up and running.
Okay.
As part of that, there's bond ordinance on tonight, several other resolutions that are tied to that bond ordinance, including this one, that makes application to the local finance board for the waiver of the down payment. Because of, we're going through the EIT program, and also there's the second part of this that EIT is considered non-conforming to state statute as far as the debt service repayment is. So that's a automatic, you have to go back to the local finance board for it. It's all tied into the same resolution. So we have the ordinance on for tonight. We have been in, bond counsel has been in direct,
This is Matt Jessup, correct?
directly with T&M's people on this, and he's the one that came up with the dollar amount that we needed to make the program complete. So we basically are where you wanted to be.
Okay, great, thank you. Any discussion at the table? Besides, we know we want to go? No? Okay, I'll offer it.
Offered by Mayor Nolan.
I'll second it.
Second by Mr. Redmond. Ms. Ryan.
Yes.
Mr. Redmond.
Yes.
Mr. Francie.
Yes.
Ms. Kane.
Yes.
Mayor Nolan.
Yes.
Resolution R-1487.
Who's speaking to that? This is state
I can
contract?
speak to that, if you'd like.
Please, sir.
The police department received a federal grant last year and has been working to obtain the equipment that was gonna be funded through that grant. They've completed that process, through the state contract, but it needs a resolution of council in order to, make that purchase a proper purchase. So this is the state contract resolution for the equipment that's gonna go through that, that's gonna be funded by a federal grant. I believe it's called Urban Area Initiative Grant.
Okay, so the anticipation is getting all percentage of this, or?
Entirely funded by the grant.
Okay, any discussion at the table? Chief, I assume this is the route we want to go?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'll offer it.
Offered by Mayor Nolan,
I'll second it.
second by Mr. Redmond. Ms. Ryan?
Yes.
Mr. Redmond?
Yes.
Mr. Francie?
Yes.
Ms. Kane?
Yes.
Mayor Nolan?
Yes.
Resolution R-1488, temporary capital budget.
Steve,
Well, this
Steve's
is,
been landing on your number time.
yeah, no, this is a temporary capital budget to move forward with the drainage program.
Okay,
Just a requirement of.
listing the dollars and cents into the other one. and
Yeah, it's
everything
just a, one of the things you have to do when you do a bond ordinance.
else. When you spend $3 million, right?
Yeah.
Okay, any discussion at the table? Okay, seeing none, I'll offer it.
Offered by Mayor Nolan. Anybody like to second?
I'll second that.
Second by Ms. Ryan. Ms. Ryan?
Yes.
Mr. Redmond?
Yes.
Mr. Francie?
Yes.
Ms. Kane?
Yes.
Mayor Nolan?
Yes.
Moving on to ordinances, on for second reading and public hearing is bond ordinance 0-14-5. Bond ordinance providing a supplemental appropriation of $50,000 for replacement of force mains in and by the Borough Council in the County of Monmouth, New Jersey, and authorizing the issuance of $50,000 bonds or notes of the borough to finance the cost thereof. This was published in the February 23rd edition of the Hasbro Park Press and may now be up for a public hearing.
Okay. Any questions on 14-5? Public hearing and adoption is set for tonight on a bond ordinance for force mains. Seeing none, I'll close it. Go ahead, Carmen.
Okay, on for final reading and adoption is bond ordinance 0-14-5, bond ordinance providing a supplemental appropriation of $50,000 for replacement of force mains in and by the Borough of Highlands in the County of Monmouth, New Jersey, and authorizing the issuance of $50,000 bonds or notes of the borough to finance the cost thereof.
I'll offer it.
Offered by Mayor Nolan.
I'll second it.
Second by Ms. Kane. Ms. Ryan?
Yes.
Mr. Redmond?
Yes.
Mr. Francie?
Yes.
Ms. Kane?
Yes.
Mayor Nolan?
Yes.
Motion carries. On for introduction and setting of a public hearing date is bond ordinance 0-14-8. Bond ordinance providing a supplemental appropriation of $3,154,000 for the construction of the stormwater pump station and the other stormwater systems and drainage improvements in and by the Borough of Highlands in the County of Monmouth, New Jersey, and authorizing the issuance of $3,154,000 bonds or notes of the borough to finance part of the cost thereof. We could set a hearing date for the March 19th.
Okay, is that good? Everybody meets our requirements by then, guys, legally and financially and all those things are good, Bruce?
Well, it's just the publication that, is the requirement as long as we meet the 10, I think it's 10 days.
So we're okay, right?
Well, that's up to the clerk. I mean, she has to she has to put it in the paper, so she's the one
I'll
that
make it
controls that 10 days.
You're gonna make it happen? Okay, I just wanna make sure we're not getting dragged up. Okay, so we're gonna do it for, I'm sorry, the 19th?
Yes.
Okay, I'll offer that.
Offered by Mayor Nolan.
I'll second it.
Second by Mr. Redmond. Ms. Ryan?
Yes.
Mr. Redmond?
Yes.
Mr. Francie?
Yes.
Ms. Kane?
Yes.
Mayor Nolan?
Yes.
Moving on
I
to
just wanna
committee
say-
reports. We'll start
Right,
with
Steve,
finance.
going, wait one
I just
second.
want to say one thing on that, the
On
adoption,
14-8,
on 14.8, the adoption will be contingent upon approval of the local finance board. So if we happen to get up to it before they do, we'll carry it.
so in other words, if we have that, if they don't finish it,
Right.
we'll have to carry it to, will we have to then re-notice and all that stuff?
No, we just need to carry the public hearing. We can have the public hearing, close the public hearing, and carry the adoption.
When
Steve,
is
do you
it
know
going?
when they meet?
I was just gonna ask that, when is the finance board? Isn't it next Tuesday?
Well, he's applying for the March meeting. It's not up to him, you know what I mean?
No, I understand.
Yeah, so I'm not sure,
I thought it was next Tuesday, but I could
it
be,
was Wednesday, so it's.
next Wednesday.
It doesn't have the exact date, it doesn't have the date in here, so I know he's applied and hopefully gonna get in, but if he didn't, that's where we would run into that kind of a problem, so.
So there's no point in making it April, just do it for the 19th, and if it doesn't.
Make it for the 19th, and worst case
We can
scenario,
carry.
you have the public hearing, and we possibly adopt it on the next.
Vote at the next one or whatever. Okay. So either way, we'll have the public hearing on the next one. Okay. Okay, that sounds good. Finance.
Okay, last week, Tim and myself went to Trenton for 2 meetings. One had to do with FEMA and the community development loan, and the other one had to do with the essential services grant application. As a part of the essential services grant application, we have to have the budget introduced before the end of March. Obviously, I was close at that point, and I am finished with my side of the budget. We are shooting for a budget introduction, hopefully on the next meeting in March. I thought I would highlight to you some of the things that came up in the preparation of this budget. Just went through documents here. Okay. As a part of doing this budget, I would say the number one goal that I was trying to come up with here was to come up with a budget that was as reasonable as possible, and yet still potentially leave some surplus regeneration in place for 2015, because we've had quite a few discussions on next year, and there's possible scenarios there. Now, we closed out 2013 with $2.6 million of surplus in the general fund and slightly over $700,000 in the sewer utility. We actually set aside $100,000 in the reserve for tax appeals because we have a number of larger appeals that are sitting out there right now. So with that in mind, I went through and put the budget together, trying to say, okay, we need to regenerate some surplus. We need to hopefully be able to close out 15 with at least $1.5 million in surplus. That was kind of where I was going from with this budget. And also taking into consideration all the changes that had to be made, either that were mandated or that were requests that came through the council. And I'll go over a couple of those, but putting this all together, we're coming in right now at about a 9.5% tax increase. All right, that's probably the big news that everybody wants to hear on the budget. It is a conservative budget on the revenue side, okay? Keeping in mind, trying to regenerate surplus going into the future. Now, I did want to highlight, and everybody has these sheets on the council, but I did want to highlight some of the increases that are in here. First off, the taxes are going up $570,000. Of that, $320 is related to additional debt service. So that left $250,000 that the taxes were going up either from the revenue side or from additional expenses. And that came in, that's 4.16% of the 9.5% that were going up. Now, in here is $40,000 for a grant writer, $7,000 for the May election, about a little over $10,000 for the county pilot program, and about $15,000 for appraiser services, additional appraiser services over the $20,000 we've already set aside for tax appeals. We also have 1.5 new police officers in this budget, as well as additional money for specials. We have an additional $20,000 for demolitions that will be outside of any grant money that we might get. There's also a small increase for additional private property maintenance. That's about $5,000. We also have $18,000 in here for a new computer program for the Uniform Construction Code Office. We have, and there's an offset to this to some extent, but $72,000 as a new line item for interlocal for the court with Atlantic Highlands. There is $33,000 extra going into the capital improvement fund to replenish the fund. This is where we get the 5% for the down payments on capital ordinances, which at this point, as I sit here and think about the capital budget, other than a project that contains some DOT funds on Shore Drive, I don't have any capital projects other than what we're doing on the drainage and what we've done already for the dissolution, including the $50,000 that went through tonight. But those, the dissolution and the $50,000 tonight are in the sewer utility. They're not part of the general budget. So that number, it's $33,000 more than it was last year. Is, you know, speculative because I'm not sure where the council wants to go on the capital side of things this year. Right? We've been to the local finance board many times for waivers. So, you know, I don't know how many more times we want to go back to that.
It's not a guarantee, but they've been good for us. So.
Yeah. So, and I just want to get into the debt service. Most of the debt service increase is related to Sandy and for some new equipment, police cars, a sweeper, and a truck. I'm not sure what it's called. Truck. Mason dump.
Yeah.
Truck that we also went to the Lamar County Improvement Authority for. That basically recaps the budget. I am in this budget I have utilized $2 million of the $2.6 million we had in surplus, and the majority of that is replacing the $1.5 million CDL loan money we had in here last year. I am anticipating at this point $400,000 from FEMA, of which we've already received $277,000 this year. So that's a fluid number. That could change. That could go up if between the time we introduce and the time we adopt, more money comes in from FEMA. But I have to justify whatever we put in there as an estimated amount. Will have to be justified to the state in order for them to approve it. Our state aid stays the same as far as the 2014, it's 14-15 from the state standpoint allocation. We did receive an extra $13,157 last year after we were into the budget process, and the state said that we could utilize that money into this budget, so that it's in this money at the state aid side. The only other thing that is of any significance in this after that is we did get, and in this budget, $135,000 that we received the money last year, but appropriating into this budget is the Snowflake Foundation money. So that money will flow through into the grant fund for use for what it was dedicated for. And that's where we stand at the moment. But, you know, I guess what I would say is I'm glad that we had the year that we had in 2013, because if we didn't do that, we would be in serious trouble. We will be within all the caps in this budget.
So Steve, it's an average increase per household, $234,000.
No, on the last page.
$234, I
Yes,
guess.
on the last page of this printout, it does show, and that's something I need to address with the council at the moment. Right now, it's showing an increase of $234.
Per person or household?
Per average residential household.
Household.
But one thing I want to bring up, it's based on the assessed value or the net value as we sit today. That number will change because we're in the county pilot program. They're anticipating in May we'll have final numbers. So that number will change based on whether it go up or down the net value after the county pilot program goes through its first phase. So that remains to be seen as to, you know, all the appeals have to get flushed out that are going before the county tax board. And the assessor has to do a reassessment. So there's a process that's going on right now. 20% of the homes are going to be That whole process is in place. And so when that all ends, I'm being told sometime in May, we should have final numbers from the county. And we could theoretically adopt this budget, let's say on the 19th, if you wanted to. We won't have a tax rate until well into May at the earliest, because that final number has to be determined, because the rate will be struck on that number.
Okay.
All right, so basically that's where we sit at the moment. It is fluid, and there'll be a public hearing. The council can, have further meetings. That is all on up to the council, and there is backup to all the numbers.
Okay.
As far as most of the individual departments came in even or a little less than last year, with the exception of, let's say, the additional election cost for May, or the additional software program for the UCC.
Right.
Things, they're highlighted where things are up.
And the 20,000 for demo is outside of the Sandy stroke. That was
Yes.
just
So I think
substandard housing that we identified.
right, and that what that did was that upped the appropriation from 20,000, which had been the standard appropriation over the last probably at least 3 or 4 years,
Yeah,
up to
I'd say
40,000. Last year, we had to move money into that account because we had that situation where we had to do the demolitions. So that's where that sits. You can see in this, the way this is set up, you can see the differences in the column, in that difference column of what's up, what's down. Surprisingly, our health insurance stayed almost the same, which
What's the
is a rare
scenario?
occurrence.
What's the scenario for another year standing fast? 2015. We keep talking about.
Well, the way.
What do we think is going to happen? That is going to, from your experience.
Well, here, I can tell you, the number one thing that we face every year is surplus generation. So that's still the number one problem that we face. We have, in my opinion, this budget can generate another $1.5 million into surplus can generate with the 600,000 that's going to be left, a balance of at least $1.5 million going into 15. The biggest challenge that you face right now is each year for this year and the next 3 years after that, we have to raise approximately $840,000 in what's called the special emergency. That's paying back the money we advanced for Sandy. And obviously, what makes that really contingent is FEMA and how much of the reimbursement we get against that money.
So if they don't come through and pay us kindly or where we think we're going to be,
Right.
the shortfall goes on our backs.
Right. That's exactly where the challenge is. If that were to go away, that would relieve so much of this budget. But that's right now the net effect of that is about $440,000 because we're carrying $400,000 from FEMA in this budget. And I will tell you that last year we carried $500,000 and we didn't get any place close to that from them. Some of it's timing,
Right.
and some of that came in right after the
Right.
close of the year because we did get $277,000 so far.
I think it's fair to say, and probably rightfully so, most people are going to win every tax bill. Was it the 90% win?
I will tell you that I'm hearing just the opposite.
Really?
Yeah, I am hearing.
Recently? Because before that it was the other way.
I am hearing, I don't know how true this is, but I am hearing that if you're coming in with Sandy-related damage, you're going to be denied because you should have been there in December of 2012.
Okay.
The county did that program and allowed everybody to reduce their assessments.
Because then before that it was like 95%.
This is what I'm being told.
We'll see how it plays out.
And I'm getting it from fairly reliable sources, I would have to say that.
Okay.
Okay, so that's not where I'm worried. My worry is more of the larger appeals, where we've had to bring on appraisers to help us.
Because of that.
Yeah, that's, the average homeowner appealing, even if they win, is relatively minor to the overall
Sure.
assessment. It's these bigger ones that you have to worry about.
Okay. So right now you're asking that we move this for a.
Well,
public hearing?
no, you don't, no, I'm gonna have the budget typed for the 19th. for introduction, that's when you'll take formal action,
Okay,
just for introduction,
and at that point, we'll set it, introduce and set for public hearing?
yes.
Okay,
Mr. Mayor,
please.
a question for Mr. Pfeffer. The tax increase is almost 10%.
Yes.
Do we have to go to referendum since
No.
it's over the 2.5%?
No, we're not over, we're within the cap, we're within the levy cap and within the appropriation cap.
How does,
Debt service is an exception. Debt service is an exception to the cap.
Right or wrong, that's just what it is.
That's over half the increase.
and so all of that, most of that debt service is related to Sandy?
Yeah, that funded the North Street pump station, that funded the demolition program, and it funded an Irene ordinance too, the lifting of the homes.
And it's just
And
timing when
also
we get that.
debt
back.
service on, we have $4 million of special emergency. Well, we started out with over $4 million of special emergency notes, that's in there too.
So the question that people are going to ask, Christie promised 2.5% cap on taxes.
I will tell you that
Sandy,
besides Sandy, there's exceptions to the cap. Like, there just are exceptions, and we have carry forward from our last budget. We didn't use the entire cap. We get to carry that forward.
Thank you.
okay. Thank you, Steve. Anything else on finance?
That's it.
Okay, Chief, Public Safety?
I have submitted my report. Anybody has any questions or comments can contact me. My office during the day. Two things. We hired a special law enforcement officer, class 2, last meeting. He's currently in field training right now, and he will be on the road within the next 2 weeks. Second, in the magazine, Mama Journal, which is a free magazine, there's a nice 2-page article about our Explorer program.
I did see that. Thank you, Chief. I will add a comment to it. We had we've talked about this in the past at this council table, and for those of you that grew up around here, you're fortunate not to see the epidemic of crack in the 80s in the city as I did. Well, now in the small towns, we're on the front lines of heroin. My own family is very much affected by it. We have one who was, an heroin addict, I guess, and then got into dealing and everything else. My wife's cousin, who we tried to raise as our son, and I will tell you, my answer, and maybe not everybody else's answer, is prison and treatment, forced treatment, and prison terms. But it's a serious thing. Be careful. We need. I know what the budget is. I know where we're at. We need more police officers. They're doing a great job. We're going to need more in town. The county's overwhelmed. The small towns are getting overwhelmed. This is an epidemic like I personally haven't seen since the 80s when crack spread like brush fire. In these towns, I lived in Jersey City and worked in New York City at the time. Couldn't handle it, and the violence became wild. So we can't bury our heads in the sand to this. I got my master's and PhD in living with an addicted person as we went through the last 6 years with this. And I will tell you, it's nothing I wish on any one of you. And we need more officers and more enforcement in the town. Just my opinion. Not that they're not doing a good job. They're doing a great job, but they need more help. And I'll pay an extra $600 to $1,000 personally a year to make that happen. Just my 2 cents. Mr. Hill, admin.
Thanks, Mayor. Various recovery items that we're working on. We did have a meeting with the homeowners regarding the Irene House Lifting Program. There was some clarification on some points of concern regarding the grants, and Arcadis is working with them directly. So the meeting was very productive. I know the residents that were in attendance wanted to go back, why, and here we are. So we tried to assure them we're going forward at this point. One of the differences with that program is that the funding in place won't be lessened for them. So in terms of the actual percentage of monies that's going to be available to them, it's going to be a little bit higher than the Sandy funds because it was due to the Irene storm, and that hasn't changed. So I think on the good news, they're going to be eligible for up to $100,000, $120,000, including their ICC monies for lifting their homes. We don't think they're going to need all of that, but that's, I think, one thing that came out of it. So we're happy to have that moving forward.
How many families are there?
Right now, I think there's 8 homes that are in that project. Those were the final homes that were determined by FEMA to be eligible. And that does include 2 homes that were lifted prior and/or during. There's 2 homes or 2 properties that were identified, and they will be included.
They look include, that's good.
They'll be included to the degree that FEMA's working with them directly.
Put that on.
So that was good news for them. We're continuing to receive and request reimbursements. I did sign off on another reimbursement to FEMA today for about another $144,000. That was for temporary facilities and other percentages of monies that we're looking to recoup. Workforce development program, I know I mentioned it to the council prior, but workforce development did from the Fed side, they did approve the program through December of 2014. However, on a local level, our funds are limited to what we had left based on our initial grant with them. The only thing they didn't do was they did not grant the extensions or exceptions for our current employees, so we're going to have to retrain, advertise, and get more individuals in the effort to continue that program. So we're going to work along with them. If additional funds are allocated, we're certainly going to use those. Community Center, we met with the FEMA rep, Tom McDermott, who's also a flood insurance specialist, and we did meet on site. Actually, we met at the office because we've been on site numerous times, and we went over preliminary plans regarding the center. One of the big emphases that FEMA is making at this point, too, is in regards to reconstruct, is they keep using the term pre-Sandy conditions. We understand that there is a desire for the council to look at an expansion, perhaps of the center at this time, too. The architect has put together a scope that we would have to agree to move very much forward with, inclusive of second means of egress. Just an elevator, just providing an elevator doesn't do it. You also have to have a second stairwell. You have to have 2 means of egress if you go to the second floor in that level. The expansion of the electrical, mechanical, HVAC systems, and compliance with all current construction codes. They are doing an evaluation of the structure, including the footings and foundations, to see that it can accommodate the additional loads of that building at this point. What we'd like to do is move forward with the plans, at least initially,
Like phase 1,
right,
basically.
to do the
It
pre-Sandy.
may never be phase 2, but.
And that's what the recommendation from the architect is
Okay.
at this point.
Do you need us to vote on it?
No, I think you've
We've
approved
already
that,
said to do that, okay.
and said to move forward as best we can. We are going to be able to mitigate out the crawl space in a little bit better fashion.
Sure.
Initially, we're going to fill it. There was a whole discussion on how that was going to be done, but when working with Mr. McDermott, he's agreed that there's another process we can use that'll still obtain what we need, but not have to do as much work. It's going to be very labor intensive and very expensive to perhaps fill that with concrete to the level that they want. So we're very excited. Good news is we're hoping to have drawings within approximately 1 month, and then we'll be able to go out for bid for this particular project. The municipal building, we did visit the municipal building. A cost estimator is being engaged, and this is also a requirement of FEMA to associate costs versus loss and mitigations and everything else. So we're going to have a cost estimator come in. The borough hall, the shape of the borough hall is a little bit difficult. I mean, when you go in there, it hasn't changed much, that's for sure. If anything else, it's probably gotten a little bit worse. We had some roof issues prior to Sandy, and those are more evident as well. So we are underway with that. Cost estimator is going to be coming down. Mitigation upgrades will also be considered because there may be, if we go back in the facility, likewise with the community center, some of the mitigations that we do could potentially be available for additional funding at percentages. So we're going to pursue all that as we move forward. Department of Public Works, of course, snow removal efforts did continue in February with assistance from seasonal hires. When people did report issues, we tried to dispatch out and get items corrected as quickly as possible. They did respond to additional sewer issues throughout the month of February. I think 2 were declared that they were not our responsibility. They will be working, and we're gonna be scheduling cleanup of streets, and we're asking residents if they can to, I know you folks that come here don't wanna, not that you don't wanna hear this, but we're gonna encourage the residents really too to help us, help us clean the streets up a little bit. We know we have a lot of sand and salt, things that are left over, and we're gonna be going to the spring season, so we're really gonna be encouraging residents if possible to give us a hand as well as we move forward into the spring. Recycling yard, one of the changes with the new sanitation contract is we're going to have an electronics recycling container put in place, because a lot of people have expressed, and technically the county landfill, we're not supposed to be putting TVs and the like, so M&S Waste, who is our new contractor, has agreed to put in a unit. We're going to see how that goes in terms of recycling. For the building department, applications for February 9 were received, 33 permits were issued. Total construction fees for the month of February were $16,350. Inspection details, 42 building, 50 electric, 18 plumbing, and 7 fire. Total value of construction performed during that period was $485,000 in total construction. Year to date, 80 construction permits from January 1 on. Revenues of $44,000 on that. Total value of construction performed for the first couple months is $1,328,000 plus. So it's encouraging to see the amount of work that's going on. Zoning office had 5 approvals. They had 6 denials, 1 letter of inspection, 3 floodplain approvals, 4 letters of compliance were generated, and 3 elevation requirement letters for numerous, people come in and request letters from the floodplain administrator if they need it for insurance purposes and other, and he tries to follow up. Code enforcement had 26 total inspections for COs. There were 6 failures. Additional summonses were issued and letters were sent out regarding operating a business without a mercantile, garbage associated with businesses, unsafe structures, and there's been letters of warning sent out to multiple business operators too with regards to conditions of properties. Recreation department, Kids on the Move program, they have 46 registered. Our adult indoor soccer has 24 participants. Volleyball just started up. They report 14 individuals are out playing volleyball, so that's good to see. Highlands, the tea night programs for February had 30 and 26 participants. Notation from the rec department, high school teen nights in conjunction with the Alliance will be March 14th and April 11th right here in this facility. Jen also asked me to report that the Easter egg hunt will take place again. We're going to run it up here at the elementary school. Last year they allowed us to use the field facility. Actually worked out pretty well, so that'll be, hopefully we'll get that info up on the website as soon as we get the flyers done. They're also scheduling, I'm sorry?
Get the date on that?
I'm sorry, I didn't say the date, April 12th. Wow, does that seem late this year? It's always hard to keep up with when that Easter holiday falls.
Maybe really early or really
So
late.
that may be a good sign. Also, the rec department did receive the 2014 summer food service application, and they will be forwarding that for review and submission once completed. Under administration, we're still working on the 21 internal projects that have been assigned, and there's various degrees of success. I'm working with Mr. Nelson and Ms. Braswell. We're making a lot of headway into a lot of those items. We continue working with various groups that are still providing additional service to the residents. I did meet with, we meet on the phone and via email. Grant writer Millennium Strategies, they've reviewed 9 potential opportunities at this point directly with me as directed. We have 5 grant applications in progress for various small amounts of funds for different projects, and there's 1 complete application awaiting formal approval. That one happens to be the county offers a tree program for tree replacement, and we're eligible to get, I think up to we don't want 2,000, but we're gonna get 1,000. We're gonna get 1,000 seedlings, and the only stipulation, and it's good to be able to drop a bomb on the business partnership one time. I have to do it the day of the St. Patty's Parade, believe it or not. So we'll be doing it in the morning at a location to be determined, but we didn't pick that date.
What is it, the community forestry program? Or
It's through the county,
Oh,
and the county, they pick the date of distribution, and it won't interfere with the parade, believe me. We don't like to pull any surprises.
Are you gonna be planting them that day, or you're?
No, no, no.
Collecting.
I was gonna say, what?
No, no,
Oh,
no.
okay.
You'll be eligible to pick up, I think, up to 5,
Okay.
and
by the
there'll be
parade.
restrictions of where you can plant them. We don't want them planted in, obviously areas that, well, in your neighbor's yard, as Kevin said. Near sidewalks and in public areas. But
What kind of trees?
there's a whole list, we've got to make sure that they're conducive to our soil conditions, so there is a list that we'll be getting.
Can we plant some in the municipal lot across, like on Shore Drive and Bay Avenue over by Havana? We've lost a couple trees from there over the past couple of years.
Yeah,
I think one in Irene, right?
I believe we could certainly put them in, and they're seedlings, but we can absolutely put them in public areas as long as they're, and again, we're cautioned, don't put them in areas that will cause destruction to your sidewalks or roadways if at all possible. So we're absolutely amicable for
It
that.
wasn't a good spot when we were talking about the K-10, so I don't think that ripped up any concrete or nothing. When it came down,
There's no
Right.
concrete
right in
on
that
the
area,
Shore
right?
Drive side. I don't know what Bay Avenue side.
Well, curbs, we also, curbs and sidewalks are, but we'll
But
certainly
in
identify.
the corner, and I think on the Bay Avenue side, I don't think there's power lines over there. So maybe over that.
I don't think
No,
so.
we'll definitely identify appropriate areas, that's a good point. Lastly, additional meetings were held. Monmouth County Community Development Block Grant meeting was held. We are potentially, if we get our project down at North Street off the charts this year, we will be eligible to apply again to the county program. That's not the FEMA CDBG program or anything like that. That's the annual program that the county has. We also are meeting with have met with the Army Corps of Engineers, and the meeting we're going to have with the Army Corps is set for March 12th, 7 p.m. here at Highlands Elementary School. The scope of that meeting, I think I said it last time, but the public is invited. They're going to focus on the area from the trailer park down to about Snug Harbor Avenue. Anyone else is invited to attend, but particularly because of the common concerns along that shoreline, that's how they want to address it, section by section, so that people are all familiar with what's going on. So
At what
that's
time is the meeting?
7 p.m. Mayor.
And that's a Thursday, Sean?
Wednesday.
I believe it's next Wednesday. We've also met with the Monmouth County Board of Health. They got a grant, and they've been coming in to do sandy recovery surveys, and it's been a valuable tool. Not everyone needs to take the survey, but they're going to be coming in. We may have them at the Army Corps meeting too, setting off in the back, not to interfere with the program, but they're looking for ways that they can come in and do some surveys, just kind of like how you're doing. Very unintrusive. There's no, I think our staff and the police department and others in the community took advantage just doing the survey. It takes about 10 minutes. Pretty lengthy, but they wanted to get us involved. Also, there was a Federal Advisory Committee meeting was held last week out at Gateway National Park. They're getting ready to really figure out what they're going to do with the official RFPs for the REFI, so there's really no big update, but they're wheedling away with that. And as Mr. Pfeffer mentioned, we've been down to DCA in Trenton probably 3 times in February for various projects. That's my report.
Okay.
Oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry.
No, you go first.
A question for Tim.
Yeah.
Could you, at the next meeting and on the monthly meetings going forward, make a list of the grants that are in process?
Yes.
The new grant, you mean the new grant writer?
Yes.
Yeah, matter of fact,
The new company.
I apologize, I did get the list today, and I didn't get a chance to send it out, but yes, I will definitely, Millennium Strategies going forward, they'll give us a formal spreadsheet,
Maybe by like the
Directed.
Monday before,
directed from their office.
That'd be
So,
great.
absolutely.
And,
Status of like each one.
and at this
Yeah.
point, it would be true, Gary, ones that they are in process on, and
Sure.
others that have been proposed and the council hasn't given direction yet, in my mind.
Okay. No, they'll definitely come up with that. And they're also looking at private foundation monies,
That's good.
and they'll give us a whole list of, but yes, they'll provide that.
And we should, I don't know if this is appropriate right now, but at this point, we did get awarded 1 grant, and I don't know if
But
somebody
that
will speak
wasn't
to it.
from Millennium.
I understand that, but it is, we are getting grants, and Mr. Nelson and.
Mr. Nelson wrote a brief article on this, and he's gonna give me some additional information. It'll go in the newsletter that will be coming out in addition to getting a report.
That was a good segue. When is the anticipation of that? I don't know.
Okay, no, truly, I have to say that Carolyn and Donica and Jen have been just doing great work, and we anticipate that we're gonna have our finished piece to look at this Saturday morning, and final revisions will be made, and we think it could be out on the 15th.
That'd be great.
I really think that, and it's gonna be mailed first class. This
Right.
first
We talked
one
about that, right?
will be mailed first class, and then we'll revise as we go forward.
Think you guys gonna mail it out? You have a service to do it.
Yes, I know. We're gonna do it ourselves.
Okay.
No, the town's doing it for us, Frank.
Okay. The people, the volunteers.
The rec department, I hope.
Did you want to speak to the library too? Or
There's really nothing new with the
Okay.
library. It all hinges on the community center.
getting that done?
So I'm anticipating that the day that we open the doors of the community center, we'll have the library up and going within the next month.
That'd be great.
Mayor, may I just ask?
Please,
Tim, I got a couple of things for Tim.
Sure.
I just wanted to make sure, because I know how we always have the crunch for the parade, if we're making provisions to get that cleaned up, street sweeper wise, because I know we have an issue, so
We're
I know
gonna,
we'll start with getting the phone call shortly from a certain.
I've already gotten those phone calls, so that's not a bad.
Oh, I haven't gotten them yet, so
That's
I
not,
was just
but that's
trying
not a
to.
bad thing. What we're looking at too is another method. Just street sweeping is not going
It'd
to
be enough,
cure.
yeah.
So we're looking at some type of vac system, believe it or not,
Okay,
to see
great.
who can,
I just wanted to
Yeah.
make sure.
no, that's
And,
already in the pipeline.
The
so to
two
speak.
other things that I have is, I'd like to, if possible, schedule an open space meeting for the 16th of April.
Sure.
It's that Wednesday in between council meetings.
April
Hopefully it's not
16th?
so, hopefully it's not so cold to go out anymore.
Excellent.
How many, small group, right?
It's a small group, I think we could probably handle it in your office,
Okay.
right?
There you go.
Yeah.
So, and 7 or 7:30?
Tell me.
Well, we could do 7, is that okay for you, Kim? I know you're on the committee. Okay, and my third thing is, Tim and I, we exchanged some emails, but just so you know, myself and Danielle from Cedrus Avenue, we did put in for that Goldman Sachs program that we do every year. And
Okay.
that's, we're gonna do it again, clean up Collusion Field. They paint all the dugouts, they clean everything, they scrub everything, they'll put some new shrubs in if needed. And I think it's about $1,200 we allocated for the day. And they send a group of employees to come and clean up, spruce up. No, it's helpful.
And those dollars come from Goldman
Well,
Sachs.
they come right direct from Goldman Sachs to us.
Okay, great. Just keep me in the loop on the date.
Yep,
and we'll
it's
make
May
sure.
9th.
Here we go.
Be ready.
They like their Friday
Alright.
afternoons from home.
Sure. Okay. Anything else from anybody at the table?
Yep, that's it.
Carla, Highlands Business Partnership.
Yep, for our marketing and events committee, the two St. Patrick's Day fundraisers, Beef and Brew and Chili Cook-Off totaled $4,000 income. Beef and Brew was down due to the weather. Thank you to all those who came out to support the events. The Guinness Run, we submitted correspondence to change that event from March 1st to March 16th. The parade will be held on Saturday, March 22nd at 2 p.m. The Grand Marshals are Henry Moyer, Nick DeBarry of Off the Hook Restaurant, and St. Brendan the Navigator is Bob Small of Helping Highland Survivors. We received 50% of our 18,750 state tourism grant award, so we're in the process of printing our 2014-15 Visitors Guide. We purchased an ad in the Monmouth County Visitor Guide for $3,000, and our billboard campaign will begin in early spring. This will include the digital billboard on Route 9 visible from the Garden State Parkway. The 2014 event calendars have been printed and circulated both locally and regionally. The Visual Improvement Committee, getting ready to spruce up revisit the Bay Avenue Maintenance Program, working with Mr. Hill on various options for the initial cleanup. We have various new sign projects in Cornwall Square and Veterans Park. We have orders in-house for 7 new benches for the Adopt a Bench program, so we'll be coordinating that with Mr. Hill to place that order very shortly, weather pending. For Economic Development Committee, continue to partner with the borough and the FEMA Long-Term Recovery Planner to apply, seek any available grant opportunities. We look forward to the flood mitigation project, phase 1 from DVIZ. Hope for Highlands, we distributed from the material grant program only. This is not Robin Hood funds at all. We distributed $158,392 to residents, $30,700 to businesses in the form of $1,000 reimbursement grants. We have 7 remaining approved applications. Those will be processed next week. We have a commitment from a committee member, Bob Small, Helping Highland Survivors, to make a donation to us for the remaining $7,000. That will close the program. Once those 7 are processed, we will have distributed $196,000 through the material grant program without counting the Robin Hood grant program. For the Robin Hood grant program, Sarah Thomer reported that as of today, 10 projects have been completed for a total of the $76,000. 3 homes are currently in the works. There are 7 homes pending the additional $100,000 funding, which is currently being wired to the Hope for Highlands account from the Robin Hood program. There have been 2 joint projects completed by A Future with Hope and 4 referrals for consideration of a joint project with A Future with Hope. There are 7 approved applications on hold due to the REM funding. We're soliciting new applicants as we do not have a waiting list. We cannot wait for the REM program. And with receiving the new $100,000, we want to move on those applications. And that's it.
Okay, thank you, Colin. Any questions from the table? Shared services, do we have anything? No? We'll go to other business.
Excuse me.
Okay.
We don't have an agreement in place yet with Atlantic Highlands, correct?
We're working on that with Mr.
We're
Padula.
working on it.
Their administrator drafted it, and it was
Terrible.
It was not well written, which is not his fault, he's not an attorney, so it was just, considering the services they were provided, I had to redo the whole thing. So I gave Tim a draft today, I had a couple questions for Tim, I'm gonna finalize it.
Because we have to be cognizant of both of our council meetings,
That-
because, yeah,
I talked to Adam, just so you know, I talked to Adam last night, and he's aware of.
but there are 2 of them. One for operation of the plan, and then one for winding down the fiscal matters of the,
Correct, the balances and all
correct. There are 2 services that we have to deal with.
that. 2 agreements.
2
Oh,
agreements,
2 things in
All right.
one, whatever. Okay?
okay? Anything I can do to help, too, let me know.
And in terms of the C2 license, you've already approved that.
That is separate.
Right, okay.
Okay. Other business, we're going to take off the wait and see request for hours tonight. Paint the town, take announcements. Who's speaking on that?
Mary Margaret Curda, 22nd Street. Last year was our first year involved, and I have to say it went very well, considering that was, soon after the storm. Paint the Town Pink is a community-wide effort that's presented by Meridian Health. It's to raise awareness of the importance of an annual mammogram. Early mammography is the best detection and the best defense against breast cancer. It's also evident in men as well, in 1% of the population. So there's no cost to us for being involved in this. They decorated the town last year with the pink bows throughout town. They also put the banner up by the jug handle. That's at no cost to Highlands. The only cost was last year when the business partnership spent $150, and I used buntings on the gazebo and right across from bars on that fence by Ederly. I wish I had more to do that fence with, but I think the word got out very well. We have a Zumba event at Henry Hudson this year on May 14th at 7:30. It's free, but we leave a donation jar there. Throughout the town, the whole month of May, there will be pink piggy banks in all the businesses. There'll be awareness for breast cancer and mammography. There's also a phone number that people can call for those who are uninsured or can't make the difference in the cost, where they might be eligible for pink funds, where they won't have to pay it all. There's also a Pink Your Ride event that happened last year. You saw a lot of people with pink splats on their car and bows. They're going to continue with that since so many homes are still affected. All people have to do is go to pinktownpink.com. You could register as a business, which has to be done by March 14th in order to be registered on their website and in order to get the kit. Residents can register by going there as well to Pink Your Car. It's called Pink Your Ride, but on their flyers they say Pink You Ride. That drives me insane. I'm like, please change that. They didn't like the double R's. But me as a speech therapist, I don't like Pink You Ride either. But besides that, the car kits are a magnet, a pink window sticker, and some other decorations. They're having a new event this year at the Monmouth Mall on April 26th. It's a Saturday from 11 to 2. If you register your car before then, you can go to the Monmouth Mall, and they're going to have a whole big decorating section set up where you can do your car right there and ride around the mall in the pink car parade. What other information do I have to give you? That's basically it. It's just, it's going to be, say it again?
Paint in the window, the kids.
Oh, right, Henry Hudson's students last year volunteered and came down and painted the businesses for the windows for the businesses, I should say. And the business partnership gave 3 prizes out for that, but also Paint the Town Pink also gives out a recognition, a certificate for 3 businesses. They win for either best window, best message, and there's one other that I can't think off the top of my head. What I did was I took photos of the businesses last year, submitted it, and right off the top of my head, Bay Avenue Bakery is who came in one of the prizes. And this year they asked the businesses, when you decorate, just take your pictures and send them in, and then they'll have a judging as well. So if you visit the website, you can see what all the other towns are doing. It started as only Red Bank in 2007, and that's the way they were going to keep it, as just the one town. It's now in 30 towns in that short amount of time. So it's really pretty cool. I have to say, it's like with the Garden Club. I was just like a crazy woman driving through all the towns, looking at all the pink. So it really does kind of get contagious, and it really helps bring some awareness. The nice thing about the Zumba event last year is even if you don't do Zumba, you just go and there's just a bunch of women and a bunch of men just exercising. We had 6 Zumba instructors last year who volunteered their time and came. I don't know if we'll have that many this year, but the same Zumba instructor who got the other 6 last year is also contacting them. That is May 14th, 7:30 to 9 o'clock. Last year I had it for 2 hours, and I couldn't even last. We were dying. But people sat out and just watched, so that was a lot of fun. And we're also partnering up a little bit with Atlantic Highlands, their group too. We want to try and do a walk, but the trail's not fixed yet, so we're going to put that on hold for another year. And I send out emails if anybody wants to be on my email list. The town website will have the flyers as well. And I think I gave you all the information, but just go to paintthetownpink.com and register yourself and ride around that pink car to increase awareness. Because even if it hasn't affected you, it's affected someone else. And if they see that pink, it might help a woman remember or a man remember to schedule their mammogram. And that's the importance of it.
And tonight we passed Resolution 1482 in the consent agenda with a support, obviously, of this and designating Mary Margaret Curta as the lead volunteer in organizing the borough's participation in the event. So that's already been passed as our resolution of support for this tonight in 1482 with the consent agenda. Thank you very much for what you're doing. Property maintenance, code compliance committee report to council. What it says.
It's not really a report, it's a request. Last
Okay.
year, as part of the community, the Highlands Community Recovery
You can give me an
Plan.
address or.
My name's Lawrence Barbieri, I'm on Prospect Street.
Okay.
I'm a very new resident of town, over
Okay.
a year now. So last year, we developed a property maintenance and code compliance program for Highlands as part of the recovery. The first step was to establish a working group, and we want the council to now support the establishment of the working group so we can get together and start our work, and hopefully also attract more members. We have about 4 active people right now, and 2 not partially active, and we'd like to get some more involved. And this is really to work with the community to fix up our community, make it look better. After Sandy, I mean, it wasn't great before Sandy, but now it's particularly abandoned properties or properties that aren't being maintained. We want to help people fix up their property. This is not a punitive program, though we will look at compliance issues.
And you're working with our, anticipation is working with our code enforcement?
Yes, we definitely would like to, and so.
Jeff?
And the chief?
Chief Joe is,
I'm on the committee.
he's on the committee, so,
Okay.
As a citizen.
as a
Okay,
citizen.
any questions from the council table?
How can we help besides your talking tonight?
Well, one, participation and supporting other people's participation in this would be great. Publicizing it and just giving us, I mean, it seems to have been part of the process that you have to approve the establishment of the working group. So we can go talk.
Do you have regular meetings that we should publicize on the website?
We will start them once we have the working group
Is
established.
there a, I don't want to say a mission statement, but like,
It comes right from the long-term recovery plan.
okay,
so-
perfect.
Right, yeah, it's down there in the plan.
And that's basically the statement of what comes out.
And do we have your contact information that we can contact you?
I will give it to you.
Thank you.
Okay.
And actually, Craig, is there any input that you have, being as this is stemming from our long-term recovery group, to lead us, to guide us through how these groups start working?
Well, of course, we were pretty much down for the last couple of months, mostly because of the weather. I'll blame that. That sounds good. But now that we're on the verge of spring,
No,
we're trying to reinvigorate everyone. We've reached out and contacted all the chairs as well as all the project champions. So we have encouraged this type of activity to start. Hopefully, you won't be seeing just this group, but all the other groups that are supporting projects as well.
Great.
And we're gonna make Craig help us.
Thank you.
So basically, your folks will get meetings established, will publish them, and
Right.
with a one-person contact email or whatever on the
Yes.
website. That sound good?
Yeah, okay.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for all your work. Rutgers post-Sandy survey.
I'll speak on very briefly. You should have a notice in your packet, but Tara mentioned this. It came out and it was on Melissa's blog. But Rutgers paid the grant and they are conducting, trying to get public opinion for the recovery in the shore area for several towns, Highlands among them. There's a survey, and Carla has left, but I'd like, Carolyn, would you make sure that she gets this link onto the website?
Yes, I will put it on the website.
And this is going to be an ongoing process. There'll be a presentation from the Rutgers studio about things that they've developed about Highlands. I happen to be participating in it, so this is all good, but as many Highlands people as can take the survey makes sense.
Okay, can we put it in the,
Yes, Rutgers
And
Carolyn
Carolyn was ahead of us.
perfect.
Okay,
Thank you.
she came up with the idea for.
So it'll be in our first
Yes.
newsletter.
It'll be in the first newsletter.
How long
Or how to
will
get
it
to
Edition
it.
of the Highland Star.
Till June.
So make sure, obviously, we gotta have the deadline. Good. Perfect, thank you. Carl, you wanna speak briefly about the Guinness Run?
Oh, yeah.
When I'm all sure, you know, everybody wants to know what that means.
Or you participate.
So, it's a fundraiser for the St. Patrick's Day Parade. It's gonna be started at Havana. You park, check in at the municipal lot. There's a $20 registration fee. You get a T-shirt, and then you're gonna run to Miller Street and back with a Guinness cup of colored water, you know, food coloring. And then the first person to get back to Havana with the most liquid in their cup wins, you know, the trophy and big buck prizes. And then when you get back to Havana, you get your glass pint and your Guinness. We'll have Guinness donated, which will be at Havana. And then there'll be food and whatnot, you know, a post-run party there. And then, you know, you'll go back there and get your food and drinks.
Is there gonna be any music there that day? Or a band?
We're not providing one. It's probably gonna be like an hour or so. But I don't know if the establishment's having music.
Now, bid bucks means it's money you can spend, so a lot of people are new here.
Oh, yeah, bid bucks are money that we use at all of our events or enter to win contests. They're money that you can spend at any of the it's to keep money in the community, like a shop local thing. We used to use it for our shop
So the
local
coupons you
program.
can spend at all the shops
You
and
can
Highlands that
spend it.
participate.
Right. If you win $100 bid buck, you can go to the restaurants or wherever. They'll honor, you know, you give it to them, you sign it, they staple the receipt, they send it to us, we cut them the check. So it's like you're winning
So they're not losing.
kind of a cash prize, but we're keeping the money in town.
And the place they spend it isn't losing either, because you're reimbursed.
We give them the money.
Right, okay.
Do you have a team of judges to decide who wins?
Besides Tara, who else?
I need judges, because as you know, this is like, we're just winging it. We don't expect it to be a great big event, but it's something like last year, the chili cook-off was very,
Right.
you know, and it grew into something really successful, and, so, you know, we need judges.
Okay, so I have a level.
Mhm. I know Mr. Hill already volunteered to help me. He's gonna, and I cleared it with, Commissioner Halfacre with the ABC to make sure, you know, at first we were gonna run with the Guinness, but, which we didn't need the permit,
Joe said that was never happening.
But
For the
because,
record.
because we have an open container law, we didn't wanna put the town at liability, which we would have been. And, so we decided to do the colored water so people can cheat and fill it with their Poland Spring bottle. That was,
Still can't.
Mr. Hill's good
Yeah,
idea.
you put the idea out there.
Yeah.
You just put it out there.
It's diluted with other
Yeah.
stuff, so.
Exactly. Yeah, we need judges and spotters to make sure there's no cheating.
Cuban corned beef there.
Okay, when is this again? I apologize.
It's okay.
16th.
Sunday the 16th at 2 o'clock.
That's next week.
Yeah, so we decided to
No.
just go to Miller so we don't have to close all of Bay Avenue, but the police, you know, the chief is going
Oh, this is
to,
on Bay, not Shore.
on Bay.
Okay.
Yeah. So if they're gonna coordinate whatever has to be closed and whatnot. It will be for a very brief time.
Okay.
Maybe it's just like the pace car, right? NASCAR, is that how you're gonna close it down?
Where's the chief? There he is. Tell them how you're gonna close it, chief.
It's gonna be a pretty slow pace and
There's
there'll
gonna be a police car on the back, and if you're too slow, just get bumped to the side.
You're gonna have glass or plastic?
They're gonna have plastic, and then when you, after, you just get your T-shirt when you, to
No,
run.
you're not running with glass.
It's nice T-shirt, Highlands,
Great.
and then you'll get your glass.
Have a glass in one
When
hand
it's
and
done.
point the scissors in the other.
When it's done, you'll get your glass to keep, your pint, and then, of course, a full pint.
Great.
And then also that day, they're having, some of the establishments are having their post-party, pre-St. Patrick's Day parties, like at Wind and Sea and Chubby Pickle. So also included for your $20, besides the post-party at Havana, you also can, get specials, you know, a Guinness and some other types of import beer specials at the establishments if you have the registration bracelet.
Is there a snow or rain date?
Now,
Just ask.
we're just gonna run.
No matter what, it's going.
No
Okay.
matter what.
So everybody
Yeah,
understands.
ski, put on your,
Whatever.
and if I could just, I forgot to mention something in my report that's really important. Giorgio from Francesco's is celebrating his 30th anniversary
So,
on March 29th, so we're putting out a press release, and he's
you having
gonna
a party
have,
there?
yeah, he's gonna have,
What day of the week is that?
music, you know, Italian, like a lot of, you know, it's gonna be a really nice party, and so everybody should come out and support him.
Schneider.
Is it the 29th, Paul? or
Wanting us.
29th.
the 30th or the 29th?
He told me the 29th, I hope so, because we're writing a press.
Infiltration, basically.
Help people to, process and do it.
Ah.
You'll see it.
In the evening.
Okay, I'll stop by.
Yeah. Is there a time for it?
It's because you need to be there.
I think it was like 5 or 6 o'clock. I don't know, we're gonna do a release, so I'll make sure it gets around. I just found out about it.
Okay, thank you, Carla. Review of the engineer's proposal for draining project. Is that you, Mr. Engineer?
I guess I could start talking about it.
Is
As
this what,
requested,
Sorry, go ahead.
We submitted a proposal, basically to bring the plans forward to completion, review the permits, do an upper level, peer review, basically the whole soup to nuts to bring the plans out to get them, in advertising form.
Okay,
So that's what this proposal's for.
okay.
I can add to that. I read this, I got the proposal from Mr. Keady. I asked for some details. Essentially, I asked Keady to commit to a review of our drainage plans, the Army Corps project, and the drainage project, and at this point, make sure all three plans coordinate where they intersect. They are complementary, not working against each other, and that this peer review should deal with the drainage outlets. Who's dealing with the drainage outlets, whether it's the Army Corps or the drainage project or someone else? And the stormwater runoff down valley that's exiting the storm drains because of the clogged pipe on Valley, and then the North Street pump station, its adequacy as it exists to deal with the drainage of the Shrewsbury Avenue area. And Mr. Keating's response was, will do. So I think we'll have a good review of the plan.
And Mr. Keating's reviewing it?
No, this is a peer review within people above Mr. Keating or.
In Tina.
In Tina, yes.
Okay.
It is, I'm sorry.
Upper level,
Oh, wait,
different, subjects, structures.
New set of eyes, a new set of eyes.
Yeah.
The people
Did we
upstairs.
approve, did we vote for this? We had spoken about this a while ago,
This is a proposal for us to
for
vote on.
us to do it, and, what is the fee associated with this?
11, 14, I can't think. $16,000?
Thank you.
Whatever it is, it's on the
About
list. Karen,
$20
Okay,
grand?
right, and
It's
we
on the
will
list.
vote, we will,
Yeah.
we have to approve it.
approve it, okay.
We'll do a resolution for the next meeting?
Put it on there for the next meeting, and we'll vote at that point, and we'll, obviously, anyone has discussion, discuss it one-on-one, don't break the sunshine laws, and go from there. Okay? Don't copy, reply all, right? Thank you. Okay, firehouse upgrades. First off, I want to thank all the firemen who came out and helped with the Girl Scout cookies on Saturday. How many cases was it, like 10,000 or
I
something?
couldn't believe that, I saw the picture.
A lot. How many was
Like,
it?
how many, probably about, there were
5,000 cases
cartons.
with 12 boxes in each one?
12 cases.
Yeah, so there you go.
Oh, yeah.
When I tell you it was packed, and there was about, what, 10 guys there? 10 fires?
That's 10 to 12.
10 to 12, led by Chief Piazza, and in the middle of it, they got called off to an incident on the highway, right? Towards the tail end. Yeah. So obviously they helped out a great deal, and we're very thankful to it. With that, firehouse upgrades. Has anybody been there since the pipe broke? I was there obviously Saturday, and been there another time before that. Becky, I know you're there a lot. Has anybody else been there and seen the damage that the firehouse has sustained since the pipe and the ceiling broke? I know Tim has.
Been there also.
Pretty
Well,
wide open now.
yeah.
It's pretty empty.
It was the only building that obviously we have that survived Sandy, basically, and then this did more damage to it than anything that happened during Sandy, Irene, or any other thing in my brief time there. I'm not talking, I'm not a volunteer fire person, but obviously we were there a lot with the incidents that happened with hurricanes and da-da-da-da-da. So that being said, what is the dollar amount? I don't have it in front of me right now. I know Dave was kind of walking me through it with Billy and.
As a part of what happened there, I've been in contact with the fire department. Mainly my concern was how much impact was it going to have on the budget and how we were going to handle it for the budget. But after I talked to the adjuster from the county insurance program that we're in, only $2,500 deductible will run through the budget.
Everything else is covered?
Yeah, now as a part of that, unrelated to the water damage, the fire department asked me if this could be the these items that you see on this list could be addressed. These are outside of that damage, outside of any insurance coverage. And I had said to them, send me what you have. I will get it in the budget, in the preliminary budget, and present it to the council for their review, which is where we're at right now. I did offset the 38 one in the budget with capital surplus that we did have on hand. It was, in my opinion, I took the route to put it in because it was too small. It's too small to borrow. 38,000 is just not a feasible number to be going through a bond ordinance. So what I told them that I would do, and what I'm presenting this to you, and basically they're asking, they would like to get started on this.
And they need to. Basically gutted in many places to the,
So this
Send it
now,
up.
and I want to make sure that you understand this is completely outside of the insurance. This is not from damage caused by that pipe.
Right.
But just things that, you know, they've said the firehouse needs.
Right.
I need to touch too, some of them are upgrades that are outside of the insurance.
Correct.
One of the items with doing the pipe, they want to run the pipe on the existing inside wall, that if it should break again, it won't be over office space, so that really makes sense.
it does make sense.
Insurance may give us, I gotta tell you, the pipe that broke was only a small leak, so they may give us $75 for that pipe repair to put towards the rerouting of the new pipe, but in general, these are upgrades, and some of it does relate to some of the changes that were made during Sandy when we did take over there. So there were some wiring things, there were things that were done to make us able to operate out of there, but we disconnected other things in the meantime. So it's going to be putting them back whole, and I think it's well funded to do this, and knowing too that that facility is there for community use when needed.
Especially if we have another incident in the next year and a half. That'll be the only building we have for Tribune Center. What's that?
Don't think.
You never know.
Community center will do that.
So basically, I don't know if the council's prepared to make a decision, but if you would like to move forward with this, I'd like to let them know.
I vote to move forward. After seeing it, anybody wants to go take a look, go take a look. I know Becky, like I said, you see it there all the time.
You have to move forward.
Yep. Anybody
Yeah,
else?
we have to have, we need the facility, it needs to be in good repair.
Okay. Okay, we're gonna
I'll
unanimously move
relay
forward.
that on to them. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
You want to take a vote?
Sure, I'll offer it.
Second by Mr. Francie. Ms. Ryan?
Yes.
Mr. Redmond?
Yes.
Mr. Francie?
Yep.
Ms. Kane? Yes. Mayor Knopf?
Yes. Public portion, we're gonna have Kim Scorpio.
Kim Scorpio, 315 Shore Drive. I want to thank Carolyn and Tim after last meeting. The next day, DPW or whoever you sent out did a fantastic job cleaning the snow away from the curb. And it was nice to come home and see it all nice and clear. I just have one question tonight. At the last meeting, there was an ordinance that was scheduled for public hearing tonight, and that was O-14-6, the ordinance for repairs to structures. Why was that tabled?
That was the zoning ordinance? The planning board has to be in. And the planning board meeting was canceled last night.
Because of the snow.
Oh, that goes to the planning board first?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they got a comment on that.
Okay.
Certain things will go to them or zoning.
Well, in the last agenda, only the first page was in there, so I'm missing
Oh,
the rest of it, so why would it have to go to the planning board first?
They have to comment on it, right, Bruce?
What's that?
They have to comment
Yes.
on it at the planning board level?
Yes, and then we have to review their comments.
So, but all I understood was that it just gave the town permission to do emergency repairs to structures. I'm guessing it had to do with the cottages, that again, I only had the first page.
Which ordinance was
The
it?
ordinance was, it was ordinance for repairs to structures.
Ordinance 4.
14-6, and like I said, I only had the first page. It was amending chapter X, buildings and housing, to conform to the requirements and allow the borough to determine and abate certain nuisances.
We'll take a look at that.
Okay,
I'm not sure why. It was not advertently
okay,
taken off the agenda for some reason.
okay.
So, was it 4 or 6?
O-14-6.
14-6.
Okay.
Is that it, Kim?
That's it.
Okay, thank you. Carolyn?
I'm good.
Sure?
Yeah.
Okay. I have two folks at Prospect, and I'm sorry, I can't, I know the last name is Barbieri and Abrams, right?
Barbieri, yeah.
Abrams is first. Go ahead. Ma'am, you have any questions or comments? Okay, sir? Okay.
I think he's signing in.
You think you just, this is if you have any, hopefully we'll see you at all the meetings. It's okay. If you ever have any questions or you want to ask public portion, you sign in here and then everybody has their whatever amount of time. Okay? Thanks for coming out, everybody. Have a great night.
Motion adjourned?
Over.
Hey, can I give you those? Those are the, I scanned those, but those are the actual copies.